2023 is another election cycle in Nigeria, and political thuggery and election violence may be on the rise. The Nigerian Customs Service at the Tincan Island Port, Lagos, seized 8 20-foot containers with 206,000 pieces of brand new and already sharpened cutlasses. Other items seized by the customs include sodium bromate and baking powder, Indian hemp, and vehicles. The containers came in from Ghana and lacked end-user certificates. Let's share the story with you as filed in by TVC News Ifnaya Eze.
There is no gainsaying that current security issues in the country has put everyone on edge. This is why these 8 containers, packed with more than 200,000 pieces of machetes, drew the attention of customs operatives at the Tincan Island Port. The area controller of the Tincan Island Customs Command, Adekunle Oloyede, says that the containers of machetes were impounded because the import documents did not include an end-user certificate.
It's a regulated product, restricted. The importation must come with a permit from the Office of the National Security Advisor, and that permit is called end-user certificate, so that we can know who and who will use this, and we can be able to follow up because of the security of the country. Right now we have 8 containers lined, and in each one has about 30 pieces, and they are not blank. They are ready to use.
Comptroller Oloyede further explains that current security realities necessitate more intense scrutiny of imports such as these, considering the extensive damage these machetes could cause if it gets into the wrong hands.
We want to know who will be the end user. It has to be controlled because of misuse by hoodlums, and you can imagine the security situation in the country. We cannot just allow this to go into town without knowing who and who will use this. We have to control the sales. So whoever wants to import a weapon, because this, as far as I'm concerned, this is a weapon, must go to the Nigerian Security Advisor's office and get an end-user certificate. That is why we are clamping on this.
The same could be said for these sets of military hardware and apparatus intercepted at the airport by officers of the Murtala Mohammed Area Command. While handing the items to personnel of the Nigerian Army, the Customs Area Controller, Sambo Dangaladima, reveals that the import had no authorization documents from the Army.
Most of them are on intelligence, and some of them, as they land in the shed, will look at it, and then my people will pick it up and then put them in one side, ask the owner to go and to come and identify. If it is Army, they will definitely send a paper before they even bring them in. But most of them, they don't do that, and that is why we keep them here. Some of them have been here for more than 3 months. The owners didn't come forward.
Were they firstly declared or something?
They didn't, not even declaration, because when they realize that we have gotten them, they will run away, they will not come back.
These recurring seizures have underscored the need for more intense scrutiny of all importations through the nation's seaports and airports. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, that's it. Really amazing. Let's get talking about this particular issue. BK, I'll start with you. A hoping 206,000 machetes, bringing into the country from an African country, yes. Ghana, into Nigeria. Why would anyone want to spend that amount of money, billions of naira, to bring those into Nigeria?
The question is, why would anyone want to use thugs to rig elections? Why would anyone want to use thugs to disrupt rallies by their opponents? But we've seen in any election year, we see this kind of things happen. You can't convince me that 206,000 machetes already sharpened were imported into our country for the purpose of clearing weed. If you had altruistic reasons for bringing these weapons into the country, then come forward and claim your thing and explain that, okay, this is why We want to use them in the farm. We are rice farmers in Kebbi. We grow sorghum in Kano. We want to use them in our farms. Why is it difficult to step forward and explain that this belongs to you? But the moment their cover is blown, they don't return. They don't show up at all. And my own feeling is we need to be more proactive. Look at even the army uniforms that were also similarly recovered. Who is supposed to use such uniforms? Of course, it should be the Nigerian army. But the Nigerian army didn't import those camouflages. It's either terrorists imported them, because in this same country we've seen tons of Turaya phones coming to our country through the airport, and they were seized. Apparently, Boko Haram elements imported them so that whatever happens, they'll be able to communicate with their people. They use it a lot. Of course, the true owners never showed up to claim their thing. But I know that they will not stop, because for every successful unmasking of these people's antics, a lot more will probably escape detection. So they won't stop, but we've got to remain vigilant. And I have to commend the customs for what they have done. You do not have to bring them in even already sharpened, if you do not have ulterior motives. I'm sure that if we had not seized these weapons, they would have ended up in the hands of thugs. The same way they bring in, what was this gun called? Pump action. Of course, you don't use pump action for hunting. It's still people who train thugs, who give thugs weapons, that bring in pump action.
Mayor, well, I really don't know how you received this news when you first saw it. What came to your mind?
I want to have a slightly different opinion about it. I concede that it could be used. People who wants to use stocks for election could use things like this. But I think that it has to do more, it's more of business than usage by thugs. The problem is that somebody smuggled those matches. And the reason for that, because if you look at the container, it was identified, you understand, and they know that the customs says, but apparently those who smuggled it in, you understand, wanted to bypass the office of the National Security Advisor. Because when you want to bring in things like this, or you want to bring in bulletproof cars, you need to collect certificate, end-user certificate from National Security Advisor's office. Yeah. But it's a very difficult thing to collect. I know people who have waited several times to be able to bring in bulletproof cars, and it's so difficult to get. So some people may know that it may take them forever to get that certificate. So rather, they will prefer to smuggle it in, pay corrupt custom officers, and then be able to use it. So I look at it more from that point of view. The problem is that it is smugglers who want to do...
For instance, you want to smuggle something in. To what end would you want to bring that
No, of course, they want to sell it. There's still people that will have use for cutlasses one way or the other. You understand? That's why I said thugs can also use it. Those who want to use thugs may want to use it. Yeah. But there are other people that have needs for things like that. You understand? And the person that is bringing it in is looking at strictly business. Why they didn't get that? Because it takes a long time to get certificate from the National Security Advisor's office. So may they decide that, okay, let us bring it in, and then we'll be able to. I'm sure this is not the first time they'll be doing this. You know, it's possible that they will see some corrupt officers who will collude with them, and then they can beat that security.
Right. That being said, BKO, well, also 145 kilograms of illicit drugs and other items worth 1.48 billion naira, were also impounded by the Customs Service. Well, we tend to always see some of these things being impounded. So this is 206,000 and other things. What do you think the customs will make of this? Sometimes they destroy them, sometimes we tend to see them in the market.
No, I expect that they will destroy these machetes. I'm imagining how big a farm will be, a farm where you can actually make use of 206,000 already sharpened machetes. For those who also bring in pump action, who are not, they are not policemen, they bring in pump action, they bring in military uniforms. There was a time when I was editor of PM News, a 50-foot container of army uniform, boots and everything came in to Lagos. That container they had already bypassed the customs, and it was while driving around town that they were arrested. And then the container was taken to Panti. You see, you can't put anything beyond politicians. You can't put anything beyond politicians. I've seen rallies in Kano, where hundreds of thugs were brandishing weapons. This is not even, for people who truly want to use this kind of weapons to disrupt rallies, to make themselves strong against their opponents. This is not something new. You need to, even on the day the governor of Zamfara defected to the APC, the rally, people were carrying weapons. It's not a new thing to them. It's not strange to them. They had their weapons. They were carrying weapons like this. Huge rally, you will see them, clubs, knives, all kinds of things. It's already becoming our culture to appear at big rallies.
That kind of weapon, was it to intimidate people?
Yes, so that just to send a message to you,
of course.
to send a message to you, don't come close. Is to make themselves feel strong. It's a statement of intent that if you come close, we'll crush you. Go and watch that rally again. You will see. Yes, we showed it live. People clutching weapons. It's not, and this is an election year. This is the time when they need those things. Whether those people brought it in to sell to people or not, I can tell you that these weapons were not meant to clear the bush. It's just too, the quantum, the number is too scary. It's too scary. We will never know the extent to which security gets breached in our country until we see people wearing army uniforms and we discover that they are kidnappers. How do they manage to get it across?
Absolutely.
You know, because our borders are porous, and some of them try to use, even when they try to use the ports, sometimes they escape with it, sometimes they do not. We just have to be more vigilant. The intention of the people who brought it in is not really our business.
Right.
Follow the law. If the law says you need an end user certificate to bring this kind of weapon into the country, if you have genuine intentions, why don't you just follow the law?
Right. Okay. So we'll definitely see how these things continues to, this thing rather continues to pan out at the end of the day.